Hi guys, welcome back to Girl Therapy. I'm your host, Nicole. Thank you so much for joining me another week. This episode already started with me forgetting to record. I'm like talking to the camera for like 30 seconds and all of a sudden the lens starts closing in. I'm like, why did it do that? And I didn't even press record. So that's where we're at. Happy Monday if you're listening. Well, it's probably Tuesday when you're listening. It actually is Tuesday when you're listening. See, this is where my head is at. It's definitely a Monday. It's giving Monday energy, but so happy to be here with you guys. This will be the last episode for maybe 2 weeks as I go to Costa Rica. Like I said, I might bring my mic. I don't know. I just don't. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I leave for Costa Rica on Friday, which I am so excited. So if you don't know, let me tell you, I'm hosting my first ever yoga retreat. It's like a wellness retreat, actually. It's gonna be two groups of women coming in, so I'll be there for 2 weeks. And I'm just so like excited. One, to like, I've met some of you guys because some of you guys are actually who come to my classes are coming on the retreat, which is amazing. But I feel like I know them already. Like everybody's shared a little bit about who they are. I'm like studying everybody, so I know everybody's names. There's going to be a group of 18 coming in the first weekend, then 18 coming in the second weekend or the second week, just to be able to practice with you guys every single day, lead you guys, hopefully play a part in some part of your journey, and then also helping you improve your yoga practice, and then also helping you build connections and forming maybe lifelong friendships. And I know I met one of my close girlfriends on a Costa Rica retreat. And I can't imagine my life without her. And I hope that happens to some of these girls who come on this retreat as well. So I am so excited. And this will just be the first of many. Unfortunately, this will be like the test run. I don't see anything, like everything's planned out and everything's organized. And the retreat center has been so crazy helpful, just super organized, which has really helped me get my footing in all this and kind of figure out what this will be like for me moving forward when I'm working with maybe a retreat center that's not as organized. Again, just like an amazing experience, something that I had no idea how to do, and I've just been figuring it out along the way. I gain more and more confidence, and I will gain more and more confidence as I continue to do more. Hopefully I could see maybe one of you guys on the next one that I hold. I'll probably do 3 or 4 next year. I'm planning on, which is a lot, but it's doable. We'll see. What other updates? I got my car registered. Did I tell you guys I got pulled over? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Got my car registered. Oh yeah, because I had been talking about how chaotic my last week has been. Everything's kind of simmered down. This week was a little bit more chill, which was nice. I had a sleepover with my girlfriend. I forgot like how fun it is to have a little sleepover with your girlfriend. What else did I do? I didn't host an event. I taught an event yesterday for my friend Yaz, who hosted, and all the proceeds went to the Leukemia Foundation. It was in honor of her father. So that was just such an amazing experience. I'm just honored that she trusted me to hold space for everybody and to lead that class at her first event. And I'm happy that she was happy, and it was everything. I met some of you guys there as well. If you watched my story, one of the girls, Vanessa, shout out Vanessa if you're listening. You said you listened to my podcast, so I'm testing you. She brought me these little sweet treats in the shape of an N. She has a little business. So if you follow me or if you're in the Miami area and need to get like a gift for somebody, you should totally look at her business. It's called Lux Sweets and Cuts. She was just the sweetest soul. I'm like, you deserve everything in this life. And I just wanted to shout her out because she went above and beyond. And it's just nice to like connect with you guys in person and see how much of you guys actually like listen to me and look up to me and know my life. And I don't know, it's amazing what social media and what I've created and what you guys allow me to do in my day to day. So just shout out to you guys. I'm so thankful. I always am. But it just is such a reminder when I meet you guys in person and you guys just share your stories with me and you just open your life up to me and your heart up to me. And it's the best. So yeah, no other updates. Like I'm going to be keeping a low profile this week before I leave on Friday. There's still a few more things to organize, but then I'll just be gone. And then I'm going to head to LA as soon as I get back. So I'll be here for like 2 days and then I'm going to head straight to LA, maybe fit in a San Diego trip. I have some friends in San Diego and I've just been wanting to go, but I'm going to go spend time with some friends in LA. And of course you'll see content with Jordan, which I'm excited about, and some other friends while I'm there as well. So that will be my next couple of weeks. I'll pretty much be gone for the next month. which is good. I've been wanting to get out of Miami. But that's enough updates. I'm boring you guys. We're going to talk about, we are going to talk about situationships. I definitely feel like I've talked about situationships before, but obviously I've changed. Situations have changed. I'm 30 now. Like, I feel like I look back at content of me when I was like 25, 26, and I'm like giving advice and all this stuff. And yeah, those were my experiences at that time, but I had no business. I'm like, I was figuring it out, and I'm still figuring out, but I do feel like I'm so much more level-headed now. And even I was talking to Vanessa about this yesterday. I was like, who I am has changed completely, and you guys have grown up with me. A lot of you guys resonated with that content or liked my content when I was 26 because you were also that age. And maybe you're still a little younger or older, doesn't matter, but we've all grown up together and you've seen me grow up. And my perspective and how I view things now and how I attack dating and men and even my own life is so much different than how it was 2, 3, 4 years ago. And it's not because I'm like 30 and I hit 30 and whatever. It's because I just lived more life, because there's definitely 30-year-olds out there who are still, batshit insane, which that's their journey. But I feel like I've definitely been more grounded and really came into my own these last couple years. And I owe it all to like the craziness and all those phases and all the situationships and all the men who sucked and were trash and all this stuff. But at the same time, it was like, Nicole, you are also not making the greatest decisions. But I had to do all those things to get where I am now. I feel like what I have to say on situationships is probably a lot different than what I have previously spoken about on situationships. Maybe not. Maybe it still overlaps in some areas, but I feel like now I have a pretty solid grip because I no longer date, I guess, just to date. Like I'm more intentional now, and I want to date an intentional man as well. And it's very easy to spot it out. Somebody who is taking something serious, and then somebody who's just wasting your time. Time is the most precious thing that we have. So please don't let a man waste it. That all starts with you and setting boundaries and knowing what you want. So why are situationships the worst? Why are situationships harder to get over than relationships? I will say I was in a relationship for almost 5 years. It was my one and really only real relationship, which is crazy. I remember breaking up with him and I was like, fine. Like, did I miss him? Yeah, like, because he had been part of my life for so long and he was my best friend. But in terms of like, was I sad that the relationship was over? No. That sounds really bad to say, but we had, put in solid time together, like 4.5 years, where when I broke up with him, like I had obviously thought heavily about it because that was a big decision. It's like, this is somebody you've spent 4.5 years with, who you know really well. Can you or can you not move forward with this person? And I had to make a really selfless decision at that point because I knew he wanted to be with me, and break up with him. And I knew I was going to hurt him and break his heart, but I also knew what I had to do to be happy and to explore and to really live my truth and become my own person and live the life that I wanted to live. I would not have ended up in Miami had I not broken up with him. If I had just stayed and, I don't want to say settled, but for lack of a better term, settled, and not explored or dated more people or really went out there and like lived my life how I wanted to live it. So when I broke up with him, it was almost like, oh my God, freedom. Like, again, it's not like he was like tying me down, but it was like, I'm just now my own person. And it was at times sad when I had things where I was like, oh, I wish he was here. Or I wish I could do this with him. Or I remember when I did this with him, or we talked about doing this. Yeah. But then on the other end of the spectrum, it was like, but now it's just me. And I get to make a decision just for myself. And I get to go out and explore. And I get to maybe not be with him, but maybe I'll meet somebody along the way, whether it's a friend or it was platonic, whatever, it doesn't matter. It was like, I get to do things on my own again. And that was really a good feeling when you're 20, how old was I? 23, 24, like basically seeing the city. I was living in New York City with fresh eyes for the first time. And all these experiences felt brand new because I was single, and you can go about things differently when you are. And it was after that I really had my first taste of situationships and dating. I'd never even used a dating app because I'd been in a relationship for that prime age of like I guess, dating apps when they came out. So I was late to the game. My friends had been going on Hinge dates and I don't even, was Hinge around? My friends had been going on like Tinder dates and all these dates in college. And I had never even opened an app. I didn't even know how. And I remember when we broke up, I like got on an app and I was like, whoa, like this is crazy. Like this is, how do we have access to this thing? Like this is like dangerous, you know, to have that many people and to talk to that many people and to be able to go on that many dates if you wanted to a week. And it was my first real taste of dating. And I was dating around. I was dating a lot of people. Okay, not that many, but like I was going on dates. I was active on the apps. I was talking to people. And even if they never came to fruition or I've never actually met them, I was talking to a lot of people and just figuring out what I liked. And I was like, whoa, I'm actually attracted to this person. I'm not. All that to say, this is when I started to get into like my situationship phase, I guess you could say, where it's like I was dating people. And I remember like soon after I broke up with my boyfriend, I started seeing this guy, and we'll call him David. And I started talking to David and I was like, oh, this is the man of my dreams. Like this is the man of my dreams. And I started, you know, hooking up with him. And it started really like, I remember like it was like electric. It sounds so stupid. I just remember the first night I met him. And we met up at a bar at like, I don't know, midnight. Crazy. I was already out. He was out. And then he was like, do you want to come to my rooftop? Of course, he chose a bar that was like next to his apartment. And I was like, yeah. And then we were like on his roof and we're like making out on the lounge chair. And he's just like, we're like staring into each other's eyes. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like everything. Like I was like, this is my husband. Then like I slept over and he was just so great. Like he was a good guy, honestly. But it was like he never let it get more than just like hooking up. Like he never took me on like a proper date. And that's when I feel like it becomes a situationship. Well, I guess that's like that's a very casual situationship. But he was like my first taste of like, oh, this guy doesn't want to date me, you know? And I'd never had that before. My boyfriend obviously wanted to date me and he did for a really long time. And I feel like every single guy I'd ever like been with at some point like wanted to date me, and it was always me not wanting to date them. And he was the first one where I wanted to date him and he didn't want to date me. And that is a tough pill to swallow. And I was like, no, I will not stand for this. I will make this man want to date me. I remember like that is specifically how I felt, where I was like, is this how people feel? Like I had never experienced this in my life. And I couldn't understand it. So I was like so desperate for his attention. And I remember crying over this man like so many times. I'd never even cried over my boyfriend this much or my ex this much. And I remember like I hooked up with him maybe like a total of like, I maybe hooked up and hung out with this man for a total of like 6 times. And I remember like we were kind of shared a similar friend group too. And if I knew he'd be somewhere, like I would go. Like that's fucking crazy, but like I would. And just to like see him or be in his proximity so he like would remember like, oh, I like Nicole, or or maybe if I spend more time with her I like want to date her, or like see her if I see other guys flirting with her, whatever. Like I remember that was like probably one of the craziest things I'd ever done. Not like I wasn't like stalking him, we were in the same friend group, but if I knew he was gonna be there I'd be like, oh, I'm showing up, you know. It would hurt sometimes. I'd show up and he would like just literally not care. Like I just like didn't want me to come home with him. And I was like, why? Like I desperately wanted the attention of this man. And when I remember I was walking on the street one day, did I see him with his girlfriend? I had crossed his path twice. And that's crazy in New York City to like literally crossing the street and we run into each other twice. I don't remember how I found out, but I remember I found out that he was talking to somebody and like taking her on dates. And I was like, oh, so like it's not that he doesn't want to, it's just that he doesn't want to do it with me. And that was devastating because I was like, what does she have that I don't have? Like she looks like me. Like we literally look like one another. I'm cool, like I'm fun, like why doesn't he want me? And I kind of like knew that he couldn't be with me too because it was like a religion thing, but I was like, I'll convert, you know, like I mean, if I love somebody else, and I'm not saying I love that man, I thought I did at that time, but it was really just like lust in my ego. But like, obviously, I believe like if I love somebody, like I would do that for somebody. But me being willing to do that for a man who hadn't even taken me on a date is like crazy. And that's how I know I was like so male centered and like seeking validation. It's like very sad and insecure and trying to figure my shit out. But it was devastating to hear that he was like seeing somebody else. And that's when I knew I was like, okay, like I need to get my shit together and like I actually need to move on. It took me so long to get over this man. I took everything as like a sign. Like I think I like ran into him like maybe like 6 months later on the street and I was like, it's a sign, you know? And I was like, I just wanted him to like view my story so bad. Like I could not get over him because we had never lived the potential of what the relationship could be. In my mind, it was perfect. And I filled in the gaps with everything I didn't know about him. And I made him to be this, you know, amazing guy. And it's not to say that he wasn't, but he wasn't my guy. And he isn't. And I see that now, you know? And it took me, I will say like it probably a year to like really stop thinking about him and get over him. And it took me a while to even like, even though I was over him, like I hated like seeing like his content or whatever. Like I would still watch to see if he like saw, I would still like hope that he like saw my stories. It would come back one day. But eventually I just got over him. And that was my first taste of being like, why was it so hard to get over this guy than it was to get over my ex? And that sounds horrible to say because my ex gave me the world and was this amazing guy, where it's like, why was that so easy for me to let go and move on from? And then with David, I couldn't let it go. And I truly felt like my world was ending. And I honestly think that it's because I feel like when a lot of us get into these situationships, it comes from not a place of good intentions. And I'm not saying you have bad intentions, but I am saying we're usually going through something because you are accepting something less than what you deserve. And I truly feel like you know that when you're in a situationship. When I started seeing David, even though I thought I was like good and going and getting over my ex, which maybe, you know, my ex, maybe I didn't like care so much that a relationship was over. But personally, I was going through these feelings of like self-doubt, being unlovable, you know, having these feelings of abandonment that were being triggered that had never been triggered before, because I had been dating my boyfriend who was very reliable and stable and honestly always wanted me more than I wanted him. And again, horrible to say, but that's why I think the relationship worked so well, was because he never put me in a state of anxiety. Like he was truly very comfortable. I was obviously healing still. I was healing parts of myself and I was using David as a crutch. David was where all my validation was coming from. And if he didn't like me, it proved my theory about myself, which is that I am unworthy. I am maybe not lovable. I am going to be abandoned. And I was constantly trying to prove myself that that wasn't true. And I would use him to do it. It became this like cat and mouse game where it was like, as soon as I did get a little bit of his attention or affection or approval, I wanted to hang on to that and I would do anything for it. And it felt really good. And then he pulled it away from me. And then I would have to go and get it again. Instead of just trusting that I already was, you know, this person who was loving and all these things, it was like, no, I have to go get it. And I need him to reaffirm it to me. And the way that he reaffirms it to me is by wanting me. And it wasn't even so much like he didn't even really give me emotional connection, really. It was like all through these lustful things. And I started to confuse, I think, love and passion and chemistry with these feelings of like anxiety, like butterflies. And I thought because I wanted him so badly, it meant that he was my person. And that wasn't true. It was probably quite the opposite, because this person never made me feel safe. They never made me feel really good about who I was on the inside about a person. Like he never really saw me. And I just started to, I guess, like I said, confuse my feelings and everything. Like my feelings felt so much bigger for him than they actually were, Because at the end of the day, I really didn't know this person. I didn't spend a lot of time with this person. And I think the mystery of it is why I ended up liking this person so much. Like, a lot of the times they say like a crush is a lack of information, because the things that you don't know about the person, you kind of just imagine in your head what they would be like. And obviously my brain's coming up with the best possible scenario and making that person out to be the best version of themselves and putting them on a pedestal, when really the reality of it is that he's just a normal dude who honestly probably didn't have a lot going on up there. He just is a normal guy who, has his own struggles and has his own problems, and it's not personal. He has other things going on, but also maybe he didn't look at me that way, and that's fine. He obviously didn't. He ended up actually marrying that girl that he dated after me, and then I was like, great, I'm good luck, Chuck. But it was never meant for me. He was never meant for me. And I didn't know that at the time, because I was, I'd already pictured our life together when I met him. And that's how I am. And that's, I feel like, how a lot of girls are, is we meet a guy and there's that high of being like, oh my God, this is why it didn't work out with the last person, or this is my person. And we're imagining our lives together and putting their last name on mine, and all that stuff is fun. But at the end of the day, like, that's not reality. And I think somebody who you really do like, who really is meant for you, you are comfortable taking things slow, and you are comfortable pumping the brakes, and you're comfortable in setting boundaries, and you have to be a little bit okay to lose that person. And I've been thinking about this recently, and I'm like, it's whenever I want something too bad or too much that it doesn't work out. And I think that's because, one, it's coming from a lustful place. So it's like, that's not really what's in my heart, and God knows that. But two, like, God doesn't want you to need something like that. You shouldn't need something like that. God aside, if you don't want to bring God into it, that's not your thing. But like, you should never want to need somebody like that. Like, it's like air that you need to breathe. And if you don't get it, like, you're going to die. Like, you should never feel that way about anything except for yourself, And I think whenever you attach to something like that, it becomes super unhealthy, because when that does get ripped away from you, you crumble. And all your validation and self-worth is in that person or that thing that you thought was going to finally be the thing that makes you feel amazing and feel full. And it's a reminder that the only thing that you need to feel full is yourself. And it takes a lot of work to get to that place. Especially if you're in this cycle of situationships and stuff, you're not going within yourself, and you're not spending enough time with yourself, and you're not digesting of like, well, why did I want that person? Like, what did I really like about that person? What was that person adding to my life? And I think like a situationship so hot where you don't even allow yourself to sit and think like, do I like this person? Because we're constantly sitting there thinking, does this person like me? Are they viewing my story? Do they want to date me? Do they feel the same way about me? Like, what do they think about me? And do they think I'm hot? Do they think but it's like, how about what you think? So I encourage you, when you are in a situationship, or I don't even want you to be in a situationship, but when you start talking to somebody, pump the brakes and really use this as a time to be like, I'm learning about this person. And I need to figure out if I like this person, if I could see this person as my partner, instead of imagining the life of what it could be like with this person. You need to look at this person's actions and things that they're saying and doing and thinking, is that something that I like? Is that something that I want my future partner to do or to say? Is that a quality that's going to serve me? Is this person going to serve me? Is this person adding value to my life? How does this person make my nervous system feel when I'm around them? These are like such important questions that we need to ask ourselves, instead of, does this person like me? And did they view my story? And, what will our kids look like? Honestly, it's gonna be one person, right? At the end of the day, if you're monogamous, I mean, the chances of it being the guy who's not texting you back are probably pretty slim. I hope. I don't want it to be that person for you, and you shouldn't want it to be that person for you as well. Like, it shouldn't be the person who and relationships take work, but it shouldn't be the person who's like putting you through the ringer. It shouldn't be the person who's like making you super anxious. It shouldn't be the person who you feel like, if I don't contact them or reach out to them, they're never going to contact me or reach out to me. If I don't make an effort to see them, they're not going to want to see me. If I don't remind them I exist with this thirst trap, then they might forget that I exist altogether. That's definitely not your person. It's going to be one, but it's probably not them. But I remember that being my first taste of a situationship. And when looking at it now, this man still views my stories and I'm like, why? Like, stop. Like, I don't know. You're like married and have a kid now. It's harmless, but I'm just kind of like, what? And then I look at like his life and I'm not like putting it down by any means, but I'm like, that wasn't meant for me. That wasn't mine. That I didn't, and I wouldn't want it to be. And I would have been upset had that been my life. Not to say it's bad, but I just look at it and I'm like, that's not my life, you know? And he's not my person. And like, if I saw him on the street now with his wife and their kid, I'd be like, oh my, like I would just be like the happiest person that they got their happy ending. And if you had told me that like 5 years ago, I don't know when I was 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, that would be the case, I'd be like, hell no, that man's mine. Like, hell no, I'm going to see him with another woman. And I'm like, oh, please. I just know that it's not for me. And every single person who I've, dated or had these situationships with, I look at now and I think, oh, that's why that didn't work out. And I'm quicker to let things go because I have better boundaries and standards now. And I know myself so much more now. Even though each situationship that I've been through has been hell and hurts, my recovery time is better because I'm not putting all my self-worth in them. And I weed them out faster because I have boundaries. But every single one I have learned from and gained something from. And it's made me a better person. And I'm like, oh, all of these things are preparing me for my person. And I wholeheartedly believe that. And they're all rounding me out and they're all shining light on the things that I still have to work on, things that I want from my future partner. Like, that's what all these men in between is just trying to be like, oh, I like that. I don't like that. Keep that quality, toss that quality. From every situationship, I will say, like I just said, we always learn something. But whenever I think like I'm not going to get over this person, like this one is the one, where I'm like, it has to be, like, I don't have another situation. Like, this has to be the one. Like, the chemistry was there. Like, I'm attracted to them. Like, all these things are there. Like, why not? Why not this person? I think that's what hurts the most. It's like, why not? Like, when is it gonna be me? When is it this gonna freaking work out one time? Like, I feel that frustration. I really do. But I promise you, like, if it's not working out, it's just not the time. It's nothing to do with you and it's not personal. It's just not the time. Whenever I feel that way about somebody again, I'm like, you know what? I'm thankful for this because it reminded me that there are so many people who I will have a connection with. There are so many people who I will feel this way about or can feel this way about. And I think when you're seeing somebody and you are hyper fixated on one person, you're like, there's actually no one else in this world who's ever made me feel this way. And I will never feel this way about somebody else again. And like, how will I move on from this? Like, how will I find somebody who's just like this person? Or like, I finally found my dream man. I'm never going to find somebody else like this. And I think like that is such a lack mindset to be like, oh, I'm never going to find somebody else like this. But we do feel that way. Like, it's a world that closes in because we're in a situationship. We're putting everything on that person and we shouldn't, but we do sometimes. And that's when, again, you end up in these situationships that are like months and months and months and you haven't let them go because you're having a lack mindset and thinking like the whole world is this person. Like, if it doesn't work out with this person, it's nobody. And that's the worst mindset to have. But every single time I'm like in these I'm meeting a new guy and I'm like, oh, I really like him. Like, this is, maybe this is the one. Maybe this is how it's supposed to be. And I really should remove that language of that. Maybe this is the one. I should just be like, this is a friend. I don't know. Like, I'm learning about this one. I'm curious about this one. Like, maybe I should start saying that. Like, I'm curious, but I don't know if I like you. I'm like, wow, I'm really thankful that this person came into my life because they showed me that there are other people out there that I can feel this way again. And the thing is that you will like a lot of people in your life and you will feel that way about a lot of people. And my type has changed tremendously. I don't really think I have like a type because the spectrum of men that I talk to is like wildly different. But I will say like the type of person I'm attracted to and the qualities that I'm interested in a man have changed so much over the last couple of years and even over the last 1 year because I've changed so much. Somebody who I didn't even think that I would be attracted to, I now am. Like, I remember like 2 years ago, I wasn't even attracted to people who were like really older than me. Like, it was an insecurity thing for me where it was like, it was a sense of power of being like, oh, this person's younger than me or my age. And like, I don't feel like they're threatening to me because I don't have my shit together. Like, I didn't even really know, like, my content wasn't even niched. I, didn't really know where I was going with everything. Like, I was kind of lost in my life. So I kind of wanted somebody else who was also a little bit lost, because the idea of being with a man who like had his shit together, like, actually scared me, because I was like, wait, this isn't a hold the mirror up where like I need to figure my stuff out. And like, I don't want to be the person in the relationship who's like a mess. Like I want to go into a relationship feeling like I have a good grip on my life. I think a lot of men feel that way too, which is why it doesn't work out with a lot of these younger guys, is because they want to have a good grip on their life, their finances, their trajectory. Like, they have to put all their energy into work, and I respect the shit out of that. So please, all these men should not even be allowed to date until they're 30. But free will unfortunately exists, and they can. And I think dating a man who's 21 is a crime against humanity. I won't even look in the direction of a man who's like, honestly, like younger than 28 is even pushing it, but like, you need to be at least my age or older. I used to be like, oh, I never would date like a 35-year-old. Like, that's like, and that's like young, and from, I guess it just becomes hindsight when you're older, but I'm like, a 35-year-old, like, nothing's more attractive to me than that. Than a man who's like 35 and you can tell he's just like put in the work. He's done the shit. He's probably dated a lot of girls, or maybe he hasn't, but he's put a lot of his energy into what he wants to do with his life and has built a good life for himself, where now he's like, oh, I have a little bit of time to like bring somebody to put into a relationship. For the most part, I think there's a better chance of you finding a guy who's 35 ready to settle down and like a little bit more emotionally mature than a guy who's 24. Like, with that, I'm like, you are so young. Don't even bother. Stay away from me. And if you are 24 or 25, like, these situationships, like, just take them as that. Take them as learning experiences. It doesn't have to be so serious, because it's really very rare that you meet somebody at that age and they end up being your person. It is. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the person that you're dating right now is probably not it. Because you're going to grow and you're going to change, and they're going to grow and they're going to change. And there's so much to see and so much to learn. And I learned so much, not because I dated one person and stayed with them, but because I dated many people, and good ones, bad ones, mediocre ones, tall ones, short ones. Like, I really saw a large spectrum of people who showed me so many different ways of loving and so many different love languages, where I've learned to cater to each person and open myself up in new ways that I didn't have to. Like, it's interesting dating from one person whose love language is this, and then another person whose love language is that. And then maybe my love language changes. And I've really I've gained so much experience and intelligence and like emotional intelligence, and the way I speak now is so much different. But yeah, like, shout out to the situationships though who got me here, and I don't let them destroy me anymore. And I think as you get older, you will get a grip on it. Like, I can sit here and tell you how to get over a situationship, but at the end of the day, like, you just need to experience it and learn on your own and go through the things that you have to go through. Like, you're gonna go back to them. They're gonna text you back, and I will say they will always come back. They always come back at least once. And it doesn't mean that they're gonna come back with pure intentions or they're whatever. And it doesn't mean that you're maybe gonna have the willpower to deny them when they do come back. Like, it probably might feel really good and you might fall into the trap again, and you should. Like, you absolutely should. You should do all the things that you feel like you want to do so that you can learn your lesson the right way. I've had situationships come back and I wanted nothing to do with them. And that felt really good. And not of a place of like, oh, like, I'm going to get him back. I'm just like, oh, I'm actually really good. And this doesn't affect, like, I see the text or I see the like, or I see the this or that. And I'm just like, that does nothing for me anymore. And that's good. Like, that's it. I'm indifferent. And that is the dangerous place for an Aries woman to be, is when I'm indifferent about you, you're done. But it's just nice, honestly, and it's, again, not in a way where it's like, oh, I'm getting back at this person. I'm just like, I know myself well enough and what I deserve. And like, I'm so clear on what I want now that I know you're not this person. And maybe you're still hot. Maybe you're still attractive. Maybe I could have slept with you one more time, but for what? For what? Like, what would that have gotten me? And that's kind of like how I think about things now. And it's like, these situationships, like, I could hold on to you. I could keep texting you. I could keep letting you waste my time, but for what? Why? Because I'm not like needing validation from them anymore. So why am I here? And if they're not teaching you something, you're not learning something, I'm like, why are you here? And I don't hold on to that anymore. And I truly believe that if somebody is meant to be in your life, God will make sure to put them there and they will come back. And whether they come back next month and then they leave and you never hear from them again, that's something you have to wrap your head around, is you might not never talk to that person ever again or see them ever again. And I feel like that's what used to really disturb me most when getting over these situationships, where I'm like, wait, I put so much energy into this at the beginning. Like, I feel like this person really knows me, and it sucks. And it's crazy to think that we went from texting every single day to now this person's a stranger. Or like, I've seen this person naked and now I don't even know what they have done in the last month. Like, I didn't even know that they have a new girlfriend, you know, like, it's crazy. And I think that was always hard for me to wrap my head around and be like, oh, wait, you're telling me I'm just never going to see this person again or talk to them again? That's crazy. But you know what? Day by day, give any situation, I say, like, how long does it take to form a habit? Like a week or something? I don't know, 10 days. Give it that. Give it a week, give it 10 days, and then circle back and then reassess and take it in strides like that, instead of thinking like you do have to go cold turkey. And a lot of times it's maybe not your choice in some of these situationships or whatever, but you have to give the space for the situation to breathe, literally. Let him breathe. Let the situationship breathe. No, but you have to give it space, because so much clarity will come from that, especially if you're sleeping with this person too. Like, they're messing with your chemicals, your hormones, all these things. Like, suddenly, like, your dopamine's getting ripped away because they're not texting you good morning. And that was something that you had gotten used to. Like, they had become part of your day, your routine, and somebody that you talk to about your day. And it's like, well, now who am I going to text? You know, like, you now have the time to switch your mindset. You now have the time to pick up painting or join a club or journal or do something that's actually good for you, read, instead of texting somebody who, you know, hasn't even bought you flowers. Yeah, like, I think that's the hardest part of the is like, it starts off really heavy and then it dissipates and it disappears. And you're kind of left with just your thoughts, and you're left with thinking, where did I go wrong? And you're left thinking, when will they come back, or will they? And I think the healthiest thing to do is just kind of at the beginning, wrap your head around the fact of like, I might not hear from this person again. And if that is the case, so be it. And I have to be okay with that. Take it day by day. And this thing, I'm going to put one more day between us. I'm going to put 2 more days between us. I'm going to put 3 more days between the situation, and kind of like go from there. But I'm not diluting the fact that getting over a situationship is really fucking hard. And it sounds so silly, but it's hard. And I think like it just starts so powerful. Like one of the creators on TikTok I love, the guy who sits in his car, I forget his name. And he'll be like, I start at like 100 and then I deduct. He's like, when I meet somebody, I start in love. And then if they don't do something, I minus 5 points, minus 7 points. And I feel like that's how a lot of these are. I mean, that's how I kind of am, is I don't start like weary of somebody. I start like all in. So the first like month could be like the best, most blissful month ever with somebody. And then they start to do things and I'm like deducting. And sometimes they don't even allow you to get to the point where you've deducted so much or learned so much. And then they leave and then you're left like, wait, I'm still left with these feelings of like being in love with this person. And I haven't learned more about them to give me information to deduct. So I'm just picturing them as a really great partner, as my future husband who's run away from me or gotten away from me or with somebody else. And that makes me sick. And like, how am I supposed to move on from this person when they haven't even given me enough information to move on from them? Like, they've robbed me of that. And I think that it's the most selfish thing a person could do, honestly. And a lot of these situationships are really selfish. A lot of these men are selfish and they know that maybe they don't have what you need or can offer you that. So that's why they just go cold and they come in and out, because you welcome them with open arms and they leave again. And then they know that you're like yearning for them and they come back, and there's these like extreme highs and then these extreme lows. And anything that is that extreme is dangerous. That is a red flag. But yeah, like I start with like these feelings of like, oh, like I'm on top of the world as soon as I meet this person. Like I'm in love. Like this is my husband. Like, you know, and then if they don't give you enough information, you're stuck with those feelings and you're stuck making up this imaginary person and looking at the potential of what the situation could be instead of actually looking at the situation. we need to use our imagination a little bit less and just think, this person, this is who they are. Like every day that they go on ghosting me, deduct. You know, it really is that simple. If someone wants to be with you, they're going to text you, they're going to be with you. And I really believe that. Like if somebody wants to be with you, they're going to make it work. And again, sometimes in these situations, like it's just not the right time. You meet this person, maybe you're still learning and growing. Maybe you are also not ready for this person. You think you are, but you're not. And for some reason, God separates you guys. And if they come back and maybe they'll come back and you'll be like, oh, like I'm in a different place now. I'm a different person. And now this person's a different person. Like there's people who like I've met who I'm like, okay, now that so much time and space has gone on and like I've changed so much as a person, if they were to come back into my life, I wonder like how I would feel about them. I wonder if I would like them. I wonder if we would even get along. And there's some people who I'm like, damn, I wish I met this version of me. But then at the same time, it was like, then they just like, they maybe weren't my person, or maybe they can't even be the person who I need them to be now that I am this person. Like maybe the only reason why it lasted so long with them before was because I didn't have high standards, or because I didn't really expect much for them, or I didn't, and they were able to be the person at that time. And then I think that person also knows that they're not right for you, or they are still working on themselves and they can't maybe be the person that you deserve. And then you go your separate ways. And if you are meant to come back together, you will. I would love to re-meet a few people, but it's not up to me to chase that person and be like, I'm ready, and now you're ready, and now maybe it can work between us. No, like if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Because a lot of the people who I've met too have come into my life at the most unexpected times, who I never thought were out there. So I just want to tell you, like, there are other people out there for you. There's other people you're going to meet along this journey, and your situationship is not the end of the world, and they're not the last person that you're going to feel that way about. And I think like that can maybe be really helpful for somebody here is just to know that like you're going to feel this way about somebody else. You might be crying about this man now. I bet you next year, come back to this episode, you're going to be crying about a different man. You know, like that's just how life goes, until one day you're just not, until one day it is just the person. But I remember I've been in places where like I've gone to like the exact same time, like a year later, I've like talked to my girlfriends. Like I've been crying about a man with my girlfriend, and then I'll see them again, like in my long distance girlfriend, I'll see her again in 6 months or whatever. And I'll be talking to her about a different guy. But at the time, you know what I mean? And it's just like, I promise you, like you will be hurt by other men. And I mean that in like the best way possible, is that you're gonna experience, there's so much more to experience than just this person. You're valid to have the crash out or to feel whatever you feel about this situationship and be hurt by it and be like, this is really hard, I'm struggling to get through this. And I say like, release the shame of that, because what you had was real. And I think a lot of the times we feel stupid after a situationship, because then we're just like, we look back and we're just like, what? Like, how did they trick me? How did they get me? How did they bamboozle me into thinking that like this could have been the one? And it's like, those feelings are real, and I'm sure they were real for that person too. But they have something going on, and it just couldn't be them. And you crashing out is exactly why you couldn't be with this person, because you were putting so much weight on this, you know? I think like I was saying, whenever I want something too much, is when I know that I need to take a step back and be like, well, why do I want this much? Why do I want it this much? What are my intentions? And what are the facts that are making me feel this way? Besides the dopamine hits that I'm getting from this person texting me or liking me or whatever, or being super attractive. You have to bring yourself back down to reality and feel however you feel like about this person, but then you need to, I don't know, write down why you liked them, or what you're actually looking for in a person, and see if this person even matches up to be that person. A lot of the times they don't. Unfortunately, a lot of these men are actually not it. If you're younger than me, I'm not trying to, again, like say what you're going through doesn't matter. But I promise you, if you're 25, 26, 20, if you're in college, you will get through it, and there will be so many other experiences, and you have so much more life to live, that you're going to be thankful it didn't work out with that person. You're going to thank God it didn't work out with that person, because you don't even know who you are yet. Like, you are still becoming who you're supposed to be. I'm still becoming who I'm supposed to be. I'm just now figuring myself out. I was just looking back on videos that I used to post on TikTok like 3-4 years ago, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even talk like me. It was just like giving like not confident. Like, I felt like I had to put on this act for people to like me. I'd be like, hey bitches. Like, okay, I say that sometimes, but not in the way that I would say it on that. I'd be like, hey, you know, fuckers. Like, that's not the person who I am now. Like, it's just not. Like, I am so much more like, hey, like, I'm just like me, you know, and I'm okay with just being me. I don't feel like I have to put on a show to be somebody. And I think a lot of these men just are putting on a show so that they can feel good about themselves and to feel like, oh, this person likes me. And I think like why somebody love bombs, and I think a lot of these situationships love bombing is very prominent. They need you to validate them and like them right then and there and now. And they need you to be like over the moon about them so that they can feel good about themselves. And anybody who like can do that to somebody, like make them feel like they're their everything and then rip that away from them, is a horrible person. I could not do that to somebody. I could not say all these things to somebody to like make them feel good so that they like me. And then once I feel good enough about that, I just leave and walk away. Like, think about actually how horrible that is. I stand by everything that I say. And when I say things to some people, it really comes from the heart. I'm in a good place. And for somebody to be able to do that, and I think a lot of these situationships can, of like saying all these things. Oh, well, we're going to do this together. Oh, I really like you. Oh, I'm going to introduce my family. Or actually they do that stuff. And then they're able to just kind of leave you high and dry. It's like, that's kind of crazy. Like, how can you do that to somebody? So I just think like be weary, like learn your lessons that you have to learn and go into the next, you know, person smarter, wiser, and stronger and with more boundaries. And you just keep chipping away at that. And progress isn't linear and healing's not linear. And there's going to be days where you're crying over a man who you never even dated, you know, and that's okay. And then there's going to be the day that you wake up the next day and you're going to be completely fine. And that's great. You know, ride that high. But I can promise you also something that always helps me is like, and if this is what helps you have a good day, fine. It's like that person was attracted to you because when you met them, you were so carefree and you didn't care. And you were, I'm sure, a very happy person. And then that's when we're like, why did you have to disturb my peace? Like this man came to me and I was the happiest ever. And it's like, he was attracted to that version of you, you know? And you need to continue being that person because you were that person before them and you will continue to be that person after them, hopefully. And they're going to want to see you thrive. And who would want to be with anybody who's, you know, sad anyways? Sorry if you're a sad person, but like you will get over them and you deserve to be happy and you should be happy. And they're going to miss out on you. Let them miss out on you and be the person that they were attracted to at the beginning. Keep being that version of you. And maybe they'll come back and you'll be like, wait, I actually don't want you. I'm actually so happy without you. You never deserve this, you know? And that's the place that you want to be at, is like so confident and secure in yourself where it's like, you don't even give these situationships or people who are coming from a place of just like wanting you to like them. Like there's people who just like want you to like them so they'll pretend to be a certain type of way, and you don't want that person. You want the people with pure intentions who really see you for who you are and are going to show up for you and reciprocate. You deserve that. Getting over a situationship, yes, can be hard and it sucks and it hurts. But at the same time, we're so lucky that those situationships ended when they did and we didn't get deeper. Always think about it like that. Always think about like, if that person had to disappear for me to actually be curious about them and like them more, then they know that they just didn't really have anything more to offer to me. Or if they couldn't be the man that I wanted them to be, then they were never a man. That's a boy. You will get over the situationship. You will get through it. And you deserve a relationship, and you deserve commitment, and you deserve the person who wants you just as much as you want them. But do not let your situationship keep you from meeting your husband. Okay? Like, please. I love you guys. Like I said, you might hear from me next week. You might not. I don't know. We'll see. Follow me on Instagram to see all the content from Costa Rica and to keep up with the retreat and my future retreats. I would love, like I said, to have you guys, host you guys. And that's all I got for you. Follow me on Instagram, Nicole Doyon, and TikTok, Nicole_Doyon. And I think I'm going to start a YouTube page with just posting some of my short flows. So look out for that. I'm thinking flows by Nikki, or flow with Nikki, or flow with Nicole. Flows by Nicole. I don't know if I want to do Nicole or Nikki. I don't know, guys. Okay, anyways, love you all so much, and we will talk soon. Bye.